Hi guys, it is April from Getting Hogo With It. Today I wanted to go through my June book haul from last year. I'm going way back to June of 2018. I'm going through what I bought and I have to choose one to put on my June TBR for this year. So let's get into it. So I bought 18 books last June. I read 4 of them, and so that means I've got 14 left to go through, and that could be contenders for this TBR this June. First up, I did a little thriller haul because I can't help myself when it comes to thrillers. I received Pieces of Her by Karen Slaughter. Now, I really enjoyed this book. I read it and really enjoyed it. I think I read it immediately when it came in from the mail. This follows a mother and daughter who go out for lunch. Suddenly a shooter arrives at the restaurant that they're at and starts shooting. And the mom just like kicks into overdrive and like takes charge and takes the shooter down. And everyone else is like very shocked, especially her daughter, because this is completely out of character for her mom. And we go back in time and learn about her mom's past. And I really enjoyed it. Good Me, Bad Me is next, and this is about a woman who is actually, I think, at her mom's trial. Her mom is some sort of psychopath. And she is a witness against her mom on the stand. And as she's going through this process, she starts to really question her own self, and she's worried, is this a case where it's like mother, like daughter, like do I have qualities within myself that could do such heinous things like my mom? It's supposed to be really, really good. So there's Good Me, Bad Me. The Dry is a super popular thriller that came over here from, I think, Australia. And this follows 2 men. Now, when they were young, something terrible happened when they were young. One of the men has, I think, moved away. He gets this call one day that his old best friend, like childhood best friend, killed himself as well as his entire family. And obviously this news is shocking, and he has to go back to his hometown. When he gets there, he receives something in the mail, like a little note that says, I know what you did, make sure you're at the funeral. So like obviously something from their past. They did something in their past, I don't know, just sounds really great. The Perfect Stranger is about 2 girls who go to this cabin. I don't know if they know each other incredibly well, but they both have a real need to get out of town, so they go to this cabin. One of them dies, but a look-alike shows up in this little town, and you have to get to the bottom of it. And then All the Missing Girls is supposed to be a really cool thriller that works from present and works backwards through this case where these girls are going missing. And apparently it's really well done. I imagine that would be very hard to do, but apparently it's really, really well done. So I'm interested in that one. Since We Fell is another book that I loved. I loved that book so much, by Dennis Lehane. And it kind of feels very much like you're reading 2 different books and then they merge together and it makes sense like towards the end. But we follow a woman who is just completely kind of agoraphobic. She can't leave her house, and then she is very much forced to. It's got, I guess, the woman in the window vibes when I explain it that way, but it is so disturbing. I really, really enjoyed it. It like plays with your mind the whole time. So I read that and loved it. Another Karen Slaughter. This one is about a woman whose husband dies. She is devastated. And then she starts finding things on his computer and goes, who is my husband? What in the world is this? It's probably still the darkest most graphic, most violent thriller I've ever read. So all sorts of caution tape before you go into that one. And so I did a June book haul as well, and I received The Burning Chambers by Kate Moss. I still haven't read this and I feel really badly. It is enormous. It is really intimidating, but it's supposed to be so good. It takes place in France, and it goes back to, I want to say, the 1500s. It might even be earlier than that. But there are like secret passageways in here. It's really like a political, historical fiction book, and it sounds really, really wonderful. Tin Man is another book that I received and read. This is about two childhood friends who fall in love. They are kind of torn apart at some point. One of them never gets married, and the other marries a woman, and yet they still have this love for each other, this romantic love for each other, as well as beyond that. And it is a very sweet story. Now, I listened to it on audio, and I think that was a mistake. I think I do need to reread that one because I don't remember it as vividly as I'd like to. Salt to the Sea is a Ruta Sepetys book, which means it's YA, which means I'm about it. This is about a group of teenagers who get on a ship, and I think it goes down, and it's their experience. Red Rising is science fiction, and this one is about a man on Mars who's seeking revenge. I think his whole family was killed or something like that, and he's seeking revenge to avenge their terrible fates. So I don't know very much about that one, but there's so much buzz about that. The Crow Girl is a beast of a detective story, which makes me so nervous. You guys know I'm still struggling with police procedurals. This is about there's a little boy who I think is an immigrant. He is found dead. The police don't do anything about it, which is very upsetting. And then slowly but surely there are other bodies that are found murdered in the same way, and they realize they have a serial killer on their hands and they have to do something. I've heard it's good. I've also heard it's very slow paced. So I don't know about that one. The Hypnotist Love Story by Lillian Moriarty is about a couple. The guy in the couple is like, I gotta sit you down and talk to you about something. And she's like, oh no, he's breaking up with me. This is the worst. And he sits her down and he's like, so I have a stalker. Which she doesn't expect, but she also kind of likes the idea of that. And so she says, you know, she actually thinks in her mind, like, I'd kind of like to meet her, but what she doesn't know is she already has. It's supposed to be like mystery as well as comedy. Lillian Moriarty does that very well. The Shining Girls is a sci-fi horror story about a serial killer who actually can time travel, and he's time traveling trying to find a certain girl to kill her. The Wide Sargasso Sea is a retelling of Jane Eyre before Jane Eyre comes into the picture. It follows a certain character. I don't want to give away anything from Jane Eyre. It follows a certain character that I will never forget, and her own backstory. Very short. Out is about this woman who wrangles her coworkers together and is like, listen, I committed a crime. The crime is murder, and I need you to help me to cover up this whole thing and like hide the body. And it sounds like so much fun. Mostly is a short story collection of ghost stories, and that sounds lovely. I think I'd like to keep that one for like Halloween time and maybe read a short story every day. Thinking about that. And then The Truth About Luck is Ian Reid. It's nonfiction, and it's about his like road trip that he took with his grandmother, which is very different than anything else he's done. He usually does thrillers, like sci-fi kind of thrillers. So great departure from that. And those are all of the books that I bought last June. Now I need to decide what I'm going to pick up and read this June. So I actually thought long and hard about this. I have two contenders that I've really been struggling with. The first is Good Me, Bad Me. I've just heard great things about this thriller, and I love diving into a mind where you're just not sure what direction that person's gonna go in. And she's really struggling between the concept of nature versus nurture, and whether she is like a psychopath like her mother. So there's that one. And then there's also The Wide Sargasso Sea. This is super short, like under 200 pages. And I think I'm going to go with this one because, well, it's a classic. And just the character herself, this character from Jane Eyre, I really will never forget her. And I just need to know her backstory. This is obviously not written by Charlotte Bronte. It's written by Jean Rhys, but I would just love to know her background because there really wasn't enough information in Jane Eyre about that character. So I am going to read this. I'm very excited. So that is the plan. That's what I'm going to read. Let me know in the comments below if you were like, I wish that you had chosen this other thing. I'd love to know what you would have picked if you were me and going through all of these books. Let me know in the comments below, and I hope you're doing well. I'll talk with you soon. Bye!